Jambo everyone, thank you for joining me for a virtual dose of vitamin Z as we bring the Detroit Zoo to you. My name is David and I am an education specialist at the Detroit Zoological Society. So today is another day, as always, bringing you some captivating stories about the animals, especially animals where I grew up, that is in Africa, in Kenya. And I was a safari guide and a trip leader for many years. And with all these stories, welcome. So today, I bring to you the story of how the hippo, in Swahili, we call it kiboko, ended up living in the river. Before then, hippos never lived in the river. They only went to the river to drink. And then they would go back on the dry land. But then, one day, there was a very, very severe drought, and the sun and the heat of the sun and the land itself was empty with no food. The grass was dry, everywhere was drying up because of the heat of the sun. And most of the hippos longed to go and swim in the river where they had all those the little pools of water. But then every time they approached the river, the fish in the river would protest with their little tongue, with their little teeth. I know you have heard of the piranhas. We don't have them in Africa. However, the fish continued to protest because the hippo was so big. They could not fit in there. The hippos would occupy every space in the river. So the fish just told them, sorry guys, you have to continue where you have been. You have to go stay where you've been. We cannot allow you into the river because it's too hot. It's too small for such big beasts like you. So in the meantime, the heat was getting even hotter. It was getting even hotter for the animals, for all the animals, and especially the hippo. And the reason being, the hippo's skin was bare. They had lost most of the fur, and so the hippos, having gone back, they went to find out what they could do. They came back to the fish and they asked them, what do you think we should do to join you guys? The fish told them, the only alternative right now is you go back to your creator. So they went back to see the creator, who told them, well, sorry guys, with your size and with your big mouth, I do not think you will be able, I'll be able to give you permission, or otherwise you'll be able to eat all my wonderful, beautiful fish. And the hippos were like, oh, no, we will not, we promise. They try to swear they are not going to go and eat the fish. They only just join the fish in the river. But the creator said no. Well, one of the hippos came up and said, well, you know what? How about if we promise that when we go to the river, we will, once in a while, open our mouths wide, really wide, and facing up, you will be able to see there is not any fish or any fish bone in the mouth. And so, well, the creator told them, you know what, go back and come up with another better reason, because for this one, I am not very sure it will work. How do I know you did not eat my fish and it's right in there but not in the mouth? And so they, they went back to find another way, another reason to go to the river. So the following day, they came with another reason and they approached the Creator and they told the Creator, uh, we feel like this will work. Go ahead, talk about it. Let me hear about it. And so, the leader of the Hippos, the Kiboko, came forward, approaching the Creator, and he said, well, besides opening our big mouth wide and showing you in heaven what's going on, that there's nothing in the mouth, we will also, using our little stubby tail, we will be able to tell you, to show you, will be with using our little small tails, we will be, every time we want to go to the bathroom, we will coming out of the river, we'll walk out to the edge of the river, and we will go to the bathroom. But then, using that little stubby tail, we will splatter all the dung so that you will see, and make sure that we do not eat your lovely fish. So now, the Creator told them, you can go back. I'll think about it tomorrow. And tomorrow you can come. All night I'll be here. So now, what happened is they came the following day. And they found the Creator. And they did not know what to expect from the Creator. Because now the Creator is waiting for them, and he's like still thinking, until finally he said, oh, well, what I need you to do, I will give you permission to join the fish. Remember that fish there, the fish is very dear to me. They make me really happy. For you, you are lovely too, but then you will have to put into practice what you just told me. Once you break the rules, you have to come back again on land, and you'll never go back to the river. So all the hippos, in unison, all agreed, and they said, we will do exactly what we have agreed on. So they all ran to the river, and with a big splash, and they went into the river, joined the fish, and they lived there. In the meantime, their skin, the fur on their body, had disappeared. Only very little left, especially all around the mouth. Any other place, no more fur. And as such, the hippos decided, okay, the only way to avoid the heat is to spend most of the time at daytime in the river. But at night, we would come out and enjoy the coolness of the night, and then come back in the morning hours to join the fish. And that is how the hippos ended up living in the rivers. So, what is the moral of that story? One of the moral of the story, I know you know it. I know you are thinking how mean the fish were, to chase away the hippos from the river. Can you imagine? They were so tiny, but the hippos had never experienced they had no experience of the river, so they feared the fish. So even little as they were, they were able to intimidate the big hippo. However, they were also a little mean. But then I still believe that for they had a genuine reason. So what's the moral of the story? Number one, please be kind to others. Help others, share space, always be nice. So that is one of the morals of my story. To share space, be mindful of others. But again, the hippos never gave up. They insisted to the creator, and they told the creator, you know what? We would really, really promise. So they kept the promise that they had agreed, and obedience is important. That's why they're still there. So always obey and be obedient. So where do the rivers, the hippos live today? Most of the hippos live naturally in Africa. There are two species of hippos. We have the big hippo, the big size hippo that can weigh probably up to nearly 4,000 pounds. And we have the little small one. We call that one the pygmy hippo. Now the pygmy hippo lives in the western part of Africa. So that is this part right here. This is the part we would be talking about, where the pygmy hippo lives around this area. But the big hippos, the other hippos, or the big ones, they would live in the eastern part of Africa, stretching all the way down to the southeastern Africa, southern eastern Africa. So if you go on safari, for example, you'll be able to see all the hippos there, and in their little pools, in what we call a pool, a school. A group of hippos is called a school, or a brad, but mostly we use not a herd. It can be a herd, but most if they're on land. But but you'll always see them along the rivers during the day, but at night, chances of you encountering hippos are there. Here at the Detroit Zoo, we don't have the hippos any longer. However, we do have neighbors, that animals that neighbor the hippos out in their natural habitat, and you can see we do have animals like the rhinoceros, the giraffes, the zebras, the eland, and many others. So we have quite a lot of them here at the Detroit Zoo. So when you come, expect to see rhinos, including a new one that not too new, but he's still new in a way. That's the wildebeest. I love wildebeest. They are the ones that migrate in the thousands. But we also have lions, ostriches, and many others, including warthogs. So when you come, enjoy plenty of those animals. Now, in the meantime, I would welcome you tomorrow to join our curator of humane education, Stephen, as he, as always, brings the zoo to you, and at the same time, with his wonderful, captivating vitamin Z from Detroit Zoo. So again, thank you so much for watching. Remember, today, the main word you learned is the Swahili word for the hippo, kiboko. And kiboko can also mean a whip, but kiboko is the Swahili name for the hippo. Thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you again. But in the meantime, tomorrow at 11 a.m., join our curator of education, of humane education at the Detroit Zoological Society, Stephen, as he talks about other captivating stories Thank you so much and have a wonderful time. And as always, I use another Swahili word to say goodbye. So, and we call it, and we say kwaheri.